Hello again. This is a Byzantium playthrough, kind of a timeline of what happened, because again I wasn't really planning on recording this one. It was my first time playing Byzantium, I think, ever, actually, and so I was just kind of trialing, and it kept going okay, with a few problems here, a few problems there, and I thought it was okay to keep going, and eventually it turned into a nice little achievement run for me. So I thought I'd just show you kind of what happened. Initially the idea was to mostly got my information from looking at the mission trees and to see how things, what debuffs there were, try to get rid of things as quickly as possible. So I went down the Catholic route at first. I'm not actually converting to Catholic, but to agree to them, be like, yes, 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 the Pope, you're amazing. Orthodox is dead, obviously not, but yeah. So I managed to ally the Pope, and the aim was to take as many of these parts around here as I could, and finish off missions where I could before I could attack the Ottomans when they were busy. So I believe I got an alliance with Samsk, maybe Georgia, definitely the Papal State, and eventually it's Austria, but not for a while then. So yeah, at first there's the initial wars, of course. I do end up taking parts of Naples with the Papal State. I didn't read the mission properly, so I didn't actually take the parts that I needed down here, which was unfortunate. Ottomans go to war quite early. I then end up attacking the Ottomans and taking back the land that I want down here. And I actually release Bulgaria early on as a Pronoia or Pronya. And the reason for that is I wasn't actually aware as to what these guys did, not properly. So I didn't realise they actually took off 5 of your force limit. So I definitely believe early on I would not have wanted to release this guy so soon, because it really hampers your initial army. I didn't have any ships, kept losing out on the whole ship situation because I didn't build them early on because of the minus 200%. I thought it was wasteful to even try. It wasn't, you should have done, it would have been helpful. Take some more land back here. Eventually I get a bit of Albania whilst there's some war going on elsewhere, and the Ottomans take back this area for themselves. There's also some fighting going on. I think eventually take back Trebizond, that could be a bit later on. The main problems are the alliances that happened and the unions with Austria especially. The next war, I believe I managed to take back the rest of the Ottomans because they're a little bit weaker. By this point, the Ottomans are they're not a problem at all. They take on Trebizond, but then I just use that as well. The Mamluks start coming in. They get eaten up. They're effectively non-existent. However, they do ally with France. They got an event, I believe it was, and they managed to actually ally France, which is really annoying because eventually around that sort of time I was getting an alliance with France myself because I was trying to stop being allied to Austria because Austria managed to get this land here. I released Serbia, didn't realise that Austria would go for them or that I really need them, so I didn't care too much, and I should have done. I should have gone for them because for a mission later on, held myself back there. So held myself back here, Albania I think became my Pronya, and so did Bulgaria. And so anyone that you see like this would be my Pronya, and the ones who are actually vassals you can't see. So yeah, the alliance sets became really bad. Austria got their personal union over Hungary. Austria then gets their personal union over Bohemia. Austria then even gets the Burgundian inheritance. So going northwards was a big problem. This way was fine for quite a while, and then it stopped because France got in the way, and I couldn't attack down here because I didn't actually have what I needed in this area. That's Bulgaria getting inherited. It's a really amazing system. I think it's fantastic. I think the way it goes about is interesting, it's unique, and if you use it properly, if you just build them up as much as you can, use them to retake all their cores and just leave them to absorb, it's fantastic. A lot of people complain that they're useless and weak, but it's nice. You don't have to focus on it or care about it anymore. You don't have to integrate them at all. You just naturally bring it all in, all cored up, make them states, everything's fine. You don't have to pay for the cores. What happened there was I just took over some more land from Aragon because they were at war. I believe we still took back their land here, so I used that as a stopping point to jump in and grab the piece of land I needed for the mission to attack here. And I believe Tunis had also attacked them and taken up some land over here. So that became a springboard, I believe, for me to attack into Tunis. I took Ragusa or parts of Venice. It's Venice. Yeah, so I took the parts of Venice, Venetian land here. Just mostly again to try and take some strong land, or some expensive land, but with like pushing the coalition on this side, and then taking a little bit here to get to weaken Venice because they seem to grow so powerfully so quickly. And also managed to finish off this area here. I think I inherited Rhodes, and I took this side just so I can go back and forwards. I believe the Mamluks push in. So it's around, I'm not sure when it was, again, this is a few weeks ago now, but the Mamluks, when the Mamluks start taking land from them, that's what I did is at the end of the war, I broke off the alliance with France or something, because I think France wasn't going to join into a war, so I quickly attacked the Ottomans, then told them to break off the alliance with France. Shouldn't have really done that because of their Mamluk side eating them as well. It's okay, but it just slowed things down even further. Tripoli, I believe I released as a Bronya for myself. Tunis, I believe I just ate up later. May have even done it for Fezzan as well, or could have just gone alliance, not entirely sure. Lots of stuff happening over there. Probably fast forward a bit at some point. So Fezzan, maybe I've gotten to, I think I threatened war with Tunis to give it back. I can't remember exactly anymore. Mamluk start pushing in. Aden gets released. I attack Aden pretty early on. This was from a war. So after I'd beaten everyone up, Ottomans up, Mamluks obviously take what they can. But then I think Poland, Lithuania started going for Crimea, this area here, and from that they released Aden and took a few pieces of land. I fully come up here, I've taken a bit more from the Pope. And I also then released the Kingdom of Italy as a client state, again super powerful. Being able to create client states so early on is very powerful, giving them whatever land you want, and then they'll just automatically absorb. Again, I was going a bit more thematic than min-max pushing, but I couldn't get this very easily, so I thought I'd take it for myself, give a Kingdom of Italy, made it up, and then just feed them back some land. It would have been all of it, but I didn't. I think I just integrated them over time quickly. And my main thing was always just to grab a country, and then feed back its cause, grab a country, feed back its cause. A bit more the Ottoman side there. Again, I took these ones and these ones for a later mission. So I'm really mission focused. It wasn't meant to be like a world conquest or as fast as possible or whatever. The Burgundy inheritance for Austria there. They became like the end boss at that point. They're just ridiculously strong because they also had all the lands I actually needed to go for. This was me attacking the Mamluks. Managed to take some land back there. I believe I started pushing into AQ as well. Took a bit more of this. I think I absorbed Tripoli and took some of Tagore. And then at some point there will be a war with Austria over here. Karaman got released. That was me fighting AQ straight away afterwards. Bit into Moldavia. But more Venice. Again, go for the achievement of actually being in here and taking all of Venice. That was one of the achievements as well. Naturally integrated on that side. Muscovy was one of my allies at some point. I believe I stopped. My main thing is that I ally people until they get too strong and I stop them. I don't want them to become super strong. Russia I didn't care too much about. They were Orthodox, and also I had no real plans of going that way because again it was mostly for the achievements. I should have, if I'm going for some sort of big conquest, which I realised later on I probably could have done, I would have unallied them much sooner. This was the end of a war with Austria, Hungary, Bohemia and Burgundy area here, with France's help I believe it was, and the main aim was to release places like Serbia and Bosnia and then use their cause to feed back because of the missions. So I made them to Bronyas, they integrated into me very quickly afterwards. Annoyingly the Mamluks then took this in a peace deal, which again we needed too, which is fine, so be it. That was all of the Mamluks. Took some expensive of the land down here, of course, as you'd expect. Another war over here, took their land there. I filled in a bit more there and made a bit of I believe I made Padua. Milan was a very helpful ally as well, because I didn't want too much aggressive expansion in this area, so I made Milan an ally, and they were very helpful because they really wanted all these pieces of land as well, and I'm happy to take them on afterwards. Croatia we took. There was another war straight out of the peace deal. As soon as I could, I kept going to war with Austria again and again and again because they were so powerful. Integrate Moldavia, and then I think I did this to release Hungary. And like this right now is because I couldn't release enough Bronyas. I didn't realise how many I was allowed to have. So I kept having just vassals until something got integrated at 75 years old rather than 55 or 60. But this meant that I could then release Hungary, take back all of Hungary's cause because they had all of this. It was crazy. Croatia for their cause, Sicily for their cause, and I believe that was all I had at this point. Syria, of course, to get some Assyrians wound up. I did Iraq at some point as well, but they had almost nothing left at that point. And I think from here, it's kind of like a rinse and repeat at this point. Just integrate Tlemcen, sorry. No, I went to war, took them, then released Tlemcen because for some reason as well. Tlemcen had basically all of this, of course. A huge amount, you'll see later, they had tons. And then also go ahead and get Morocco too, and Sus as well. That's where the first sort of wars with Portugal. But again, took a little piece of land, Genoa, finished off that area. Mostly trying to make just tons of trade companies as well. Another war with Mamluks, took the rest of this, got Syria, took the first chunk of land for Hungary. I believe I did not have Moravia at this point, but I did have Styria. They would use for their cause too. Iraq into Ejam, had Saran as well for Ejam. Finished off some more Mamluks. And again, I don't know if that was 2 wars quickly. I didn't do any truce breaking at all. It's not my style for that sort of thing. This was just more land being pushed into here, going further and getting the rest of Venice, getting that achievement at that point. I do have Tlemcen, like I said. The next one I think might be Portugal. They both got integrated there, Soran and Iraq. And then I pushed into here, so I had Luristan, I think it was, this area. And then at this point I stopped pushing. There was no more push for east. I think I did this war here just because I needed to get some lands. So I finished off those bits. That's Astracana vassal. The intention was to take all this. It didn't end in the end. And as again with Luristan was to take it all because it was like the next push, next push, next push. But then realised I can't be bothered. I've made a save file for 1620 or whenever it happened, like 1560 I think it was. Because this is the point I stopped pushing. Only slowly went in and did the rest. At this point I could easily get pushing this way, pushing up, pushing down. This is probably the save I'll use for if I go back for World Conquest, because I realised later on, super easy to do with this country, super easy. I got Valachi, I believe I did Valachi separately, but I didn't want Hungary to be too strong because you can't make them Pronya if they are 100 development or higher. At this point, up to this point, they still weren't, so I had to make them like 98 development, and then release this, and then I made them Pronya when someone else died, which was lucky. I believe this stuff finishes, yeah, that's all Tlemcen. I don't know what happened, but they had stupid amounts of cores. It was crazy. It was useful. Savoy, I believe, became a vassal. Pronya as well. That's another war with Austria. Got all of their cores back. So they become super strong. And then I started breaking up my lands. I'd already broken my lands with Milan because they were again getting too strong. I needed their land. Finished off Rome. Managed to slowly culture convert everything that's here as much as I could. And then also religiously convert them. And then consecrate Metropolis for that other achievement. I believe this part around here was like when I managed to get the Eastern Roman Empire as Byzantium achievement too. Jam's broken up, that goes into Persia soon. Oh yeah, hell yeah. This is where I managed to get Morocco from Portugal and Spain. Or Castile were allied to each other, so every war from this point onwards with these is with both of them. Managed to get Morocco because they've got the cores here, and got Sus, maybe not yet, but Sus has a few cores, so there's a reason for that. And then I had Leon. I did have just Leon and just Galicia earlier. Obviously didn't see that, but I managed to get the rest of their cores and the rest of their cores in the second war with them. So they're fully done there. And at some point, maybe this very soon or a little bit afterwards, I've got Sus there for that. I actually went to war with, broke up with France. Yes, Aragon I made into a vassal. That's why they were still there. Aragon was a vassal and they retook all their cores from Castile as well, and then made them a Bronya when someone over here has died, probably Hungary. I think Hungary's died, so I integrated all of that. Then I made Aragon, managed to integrate them. It's again such a strong system. Managed to come down to take out the rest of the Mamluks that I think was needed for the mission tree. Nothing else over here at all. So that's what I'm saying, it's a bit of a waste. Like I kept threatening war every now and again, just take one more piece of land, but it was a very slow situation. And here again I slowed down a little bit because I was just waiting for the coalition to kind of slow down, come away. But just every now and again, just be a little bit of war here, a little bit of war there. This was finishing off Austria. I think I took it for myself. Yes, I also had a single province of Bohemia and used it to get all of their cores back as well from Austria. And I took a couple of provinces here so I could make not Friesland, what may have been Flanders, I don't know for sure, and also Burgundy. So at this point I managed to get Burgundy as well, and they will become something soon. There you go. So Burgundy had another war with someone and started feeding back Burgundy until they got to 98 or 99 development, and then made them into a Pronya as well. And from that I could then attack France and also attack England to get the rest of their cores back. It was Flanders, yeah. So I think at this point is the end of me and Britain being allied, potentially, or maybe I went towards France and then they ended it. And they've all integrated, that's all integrated, nothing else. I think every time this is moving, it's me taking like a single province, like from here and from here, nothing major. So the rest of it is just a little bits of wars here. And again, very slow progress. I was mostly trying to get into the fall of the Roman Empire, so it wasn't huge pushes, and it was threatening wars here or there just to keep the aggressive expansion down. The biggest, scariest wars were against Castile and Portugal. Yes, Britain had Provence as a personal union, so they've just inherited everything, which is also why I couldn't go into Provence either. But only got most of its cores back there. So the main push really was to try and take over the French and the British parts. The part over here, this is Commonwealth went to war with somebody, I don't know who and why, but I was pulled in, I think it was maybe with Sweden separately, and we just told them to obviously pull out Lithuania and Estonia and something else and something else. It was just a case of just getting them a bit weaker. I think it was actually a Russian war. And then Sus has just been integrated there. Morocco, we will take back all this land because this is all Moroccan as well. Cologne became an ally. I tried to break off my stronger alliances. And at some point, Bregenz becomes has a personal union with Milan, also a personal union over like a whole area over here. Cologne becomes massive after I think I destroyed the HRE in the Day 2 wars earlier. That's why all this suddenly starts to grow very quickly. Another war there was with Portugal and Spain. Castile took half of Portugal, half of Castile, gave back Moroccan lands, took a couple of islands. Then started pushing into Brittany a little bit because France wouldn't join in with them. And again, there was my thinking was I'll take back all their cores, but it wouldn't make any sense obviously because they still exist. So that was a bit silly. Managed to integrate Morocco as well. My first war with France, again, just kind of snake through. I released Gascon and somebody else. Gascony and someone else, kind of Orléans was released from here. Again, this is when I broke the alliance with Britain and started going to war with them. Took back what I could from Britain. Actually, this was a trading trust for Gascony's core. It was their final core. I did that before I went to war with Britain. And for Britain, it was mostly so I could release Provence. Actually, they had Provence somewhere as a vassal. So when I went to war with Britain, it was to get the rest of Burgundian cores or the Provence cores. Again, integrated Flanders there. Seem to have integrated Burgundy. Gascogne will come after. France started going to war. Spain went to war with France. Again, most of these wars were happening over here in this area, and then they kept on just taking pieces of land back and forth because France was obviously massively weakened. And England again going to war with France. Britain took over loads of central France. They're probably going to go for an Angevin run themselves. Fast for a little bit because I need to go and take over there. But also took all of Britain. At this point, you can just expand so fast, but took over the rest of Britain that was here, fed it all back to people who needed to be, and I took a piece of Wales, because again, my idea was create Wales, get the cores back, and I thought, I don't need to be doing this. There was no need for this. This was me just piecing out too early. I should have taken as many low, cheap places I needed for the Roman achievement, because it made it take a bit longer in the end. But then I started to go to war, I think at this point, into the centre. No, my final war here with Spain and Portugal. Took the rest of Castile, one province left in Portugal because there's no use to take anymore. There is still some Spain somewhere. I think the Spanish was over here somewhere. I didn't care. I had no need to take back everything, and I could take over everything afterwards if you take all their cores, all the mainland stuff. But I wasn't really interested. And then I just started going through German region. Pretty much, I was just attacking war after war after war. We got like 200, 300 overextension. Everyone wants to be in a coalition, but no one's joining one. At this point, this is the way, the kind of the pace I could have gone at. But I was just holding off to this point because I wasn't really sure which route to take and how to go about. So it's just take. And then for the end of the achievement, I needed to obviously take the rest of the the rest of the Black Sea. So I involved all the Commonwealth because they had a few pieces of land, and then it would have been a war with Russia. But I made up enough favours to trade back these two and give them to Crimea, which I made as a vassal, and then I integrated the vassal, and luckily Provence got inherited around this sort of time too. So for about 10, 20 years maybe, I think I just sat and waited until I could integrate Crimea. I had one more cheeky war with Britain for some reason. It was for this. I needed to get the last piece, 3 Georges. For the 3 Georges achievement, I needed 1 piece. So I got that one. In an earlier war with Portugal, I took this. And I already had this, so I decided to just try and go for it. So, oh shit. Okay, that's math. So there we are. Only at, 1713? I managed to integrate that. I managed to get, for this one, Last Crusade, Restore the Pentarchy, Redecorating, Mare Nostrum, in the Name of the Father, and Georgia on my mind. And Basileus, yeah. So all those in this one, which is pretty helpful, pretty useful. It was really fun. It was really, really fun. And yeah, my country is 9,500 development. I haven't been pushing for the last 13 years, and probably since the 1500s I have not been going this way in any way, for any reason at all. So this is tiny. I have stupid amounts of money. I gave up trying to spend it. Every month it was coming in. Thousands per month. Religion-wise, all Orthodox. Everything converts so quickly because all the benefits and bonuses you get. These guys were Orthodox already. Some parts of Europe were. I made Portugal go Orthodox at some point, I think it was, so all their stuff is. culture-wise, I was the whole game where I could. I was pushing culture conversions because the Byzantine stuff goes through it quite well, and then the Roman stuff does too. But this is kind of where I was up to before I became Rome anyway, because I know it converts everything to Roman. So I was pushing for that anyway. I felt like that was an achievement for it. There isn't. It's technically a bit pointless, so I'll probably hold off on that. But I could, yeah. I think if I went back, even now, if I push really, really hard, possibly could do World Conquest. Like 9,500 in the same place it was last time with the Persian one. I think I had 6,000 or something. And I can just take whole countries in single wars. I think it's absolutely crazy. The changes they've made in the last few years, I haven't played stupid amounts in the last couple of years, but they've made it crazy how fast you can expand. And yeah, had a lot of fun with this. Could continue, maybe another 100 years, take a lot, or go back to the 50s, 1600s. To be fair, I think a full expansion is going to be with the Mughals when they change them. I feel like they're going to change them in the next major patch. They've hinted at it. I don't think it would be the one to go for. But this is just designed to expand, so I may come back to it, I don't know. But yeah, had a lot of fun. Constant high prestige, constant legitimacy, constant near 100 power protection with no rivals. Constant high armor tradition. Yeah, I was hedging on for it ages and people still wanted to be in my alliance. This is the first one I could get. I didn't know I couldn't pick another one. Again, been too many years since I've tried it. For government reforms, went Rome. I think Roman Empire, but reform the Pronia system, restore the Master of Officers, go outline to the monasteries, theme system, restore the Senate. Again, I was just purely trying to go for as much thematic as I could. Dynastic administration, Latio Enormis, Les Six Livres de la République, and then I went for L'État c'est moi because it was needed. I needed the government capacity a lot at first, but then obviously the better buildings come out and this is not needed at all. I would definitely push for divine rights just so I can expand even faster. Potentially regional representation, but I'm actually overloaded with administration points. It's not needed at all. You do not need to push. It's not like a normal world conquest where you need admin points as much. You can just make lots of client states and just automatically be absorbing them for free. So probably divine rights to expand even faster, and then political absolutism as well. And everyone is obviously 5. These idea groups I went with. I wasn't really thinking about world conquest at the time. I was more thinking, Bronias, I'm going to need to have as many diplomatic slots as I can. I need to increase it. If I'm going to integrate them, it's going to cost diplomatic reputation. It didn't, so this was actually pointless in a way. But in the end, it kind of helped out. I think aristocratic earlier would have helped more in the initial battles. But yeah, I'm not sure what else to show. I think that's kind of it. Just switching between these a lot is very helpful. Early on, it's hard to get the Patriarch authority, but after a while, you just loaded with it. Yeah, very enjoyable run, and I'm probably going to continue it. So yeah, nice longer video. Sorry about that, but I hopefully you enjoyed it. Bye bye.